Thank you.
Good morning, Your Holiness. It is such an honor to be in your presence today, and I would like to extend a warm welcome to everyone joining us around the world. Thank you, Your Holiness, for this opportunity to have a conversation about the necessity of compassion for the survival of humanity. Before we begin, please allow me to introduce President Gregory Fenves, Emory University's new president, who would like to offer his greetings and share a message on behalf of the university. President Fenves has had a long career as a transformational leader in education, recognized not only for his commitment to academic excellence, but also for his resolve in promoting social, economic, and racial equity and justice. Throughout his career, President Fenves has demonstrated a willingness to address difficult challenges with both creativity and humility, and the Emory community is delighted that he has joined Emory. President Fenves.
Thank you, Lobpan.
Thank you.
And greetings to our global audience. Good morning, Your Holiness.
Thank you.
It is my privilege to extend Emory University's warmest welcome to you. As everyone here knows, His Holiness is one of the world's great teachers, the highest spiritual leader of the Tibetan Buddhism, and a leading advocate for the benefits of compassion in helping people across the world. And since 2007, His Holiness has also served as a presidential distinguished professor at Emory University. Through his visits to our campus in Atlanta, he has encouraged our community to forge strong connections between the studies of science and spirituality. And he has generously partnered with students and faculty through Emory's study abroad programs in Dharamsala. Your Holiness, I can say that the opportunity to work with you was among the many reasons I chose to come to Emory. And this is particularly true because my father is a Holocaust survivor, and his story and suffering were the results of the same type of intolerance that you strive so passionately to overcome. Your focus on the human heart and mind and dedication to helping find peace, forgive, show respect, and lead deeper, more fulfilling lives is powerful and resonant in all times, but especially now. Your Holiness, before I turn things over to you, I would like to thank Melani Walton, co-founder of the Rob and Melani Walton Foundation, for joining us. And I'd also like to welcome Professor of Neuroscience at Emory and CNN's Chief Medical Correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. With these introductions, I'm now honored to welcome His Holiness the Dalai Lama, our professor for the day.
Thank you so much, President Fenves. Your Holiness, before introducing our two discussants, I would like to take a brief moment to update you on our work at the Center for Contemplative Science and Compassion-Based Ethics at Emory University. Originally established as the Emory-Tibet Partnership, this collaboration was inaugurated by Your Holiness in 1998. In 2007, we launched the Emory-Tibet Science Initiative to realize Your Holiness's vision for comprehensive and sustainable science education for Tibetan monks and nuns. This program is now fully implemented in a number of major Tibetan monasteries and nunneries. We are now in the fourth stage of the program, which focuses on developing monastic science teachers and researchers so that the monastic science education will be self-sustaining. We are deeply grateful to you, Your Holiness, for entrusting us with the development of the Secular Ethics in Education program, known as C-Learning. Designed for use in kindergarten through university level education, the C-Learning curriculum integrates basic human values into education on the basis of science and best educational practices. In only a year and a half since its launch by Your Holiness, C-Learning has been introduced to more than 58,000 educators in 145 countries. Your Holiness, in your 1998 commencement speech at Emory, you emphasized the importance of compassion for the meaningful life. Our Emory community took your advice to heart and created cognitively based compassion training, or CBCT, This program has now been offered to college and medical students, school teachers, doctors, nurses, military veterans, and general public around the world. Emory is now embarking on a major initiative for advancing a culture of compassion worldwide. And this brings us to the theme of today's webinar, the necessity of compassion for the survival of humanity. Exploring this theme with you today, Your Holiness, are our two distinguished thinkers, Ms. Melani Walton and Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Your Holiness, Dr. Gupta is a neurosurgeon and faculty member at Emory, as President Finwas mentioned. But the world knows him better as the chief medical correspondent for CNN. For years, and in particularly during the current pandemic, Dr. Gupta has used his expertise to provide comfort and life-saving information to millions of people. Ms. Melani Walton is a leading humanitarian and the co-founder of the Rob and Melani Walton Foundation, an accomplished athlete and educator. Ms. Walton's background informs the foundation's work to create healthier communities with purpose in harmony with one another and our earth. Her passion for learning guides her support of research in education, brain health, consciousness studies, and environmental sustainability. Your Holiness, Ms. Walton and Dr. Gupta will alternate in asking their questions. We will begin with a question from Ms. Walton.
Thank you. Your Holiness, Rob and I are deeply honored to be with you here today.
Your Holiness, namaste. Thank you for your invitation to join you this evening. It may look like we're indoors, but we're actually on the terrace enjoying this beautiful night in the desert.
Humanity is blessed by your selfless dedication to end suffering. By promoting dialogue among all, you are awakening people to the oneness of humanity and are teaching us how to live in harmony. My husband, Rob, and I have been inspired by your work for many years. It has helped inform our foundation's efforts to support the interconnected elements that sustain life and increase understanding of how to heal people and our planet. Thank you, Geshe Lobsang, for your kind introduction and pioneering work to deepen our insight into how compassion can improve our well-being as individuals and as a global society. I want to thank Emory University and President Fenves for the kind invitation to participate in today's dialogue and say a few words as we conclude about the new initiative our foundation is undertaking with Emory. It is a true pleasure, Your Holiness, to join Dr. Gupta for this conversation with you. Our topic today, the necessity of compassion for the survival of humanity. 2020 has been a wake-up call, a year of great trial and suffering. It has shown us that compassion, as you have stated, is as essential as water. It has also escalated the urgency for response and has created fear and uncertainty about our future. My question to you, Your Holiness, is given the urgency and complexity of crisis in our world today, what are the immediate actions we must take? And would you explain how compassion can foster the powerful action needed to stand up against injustice as we work together on issues that impact us all?
Karsa. Ka. Yes, firstly, I have this as a meeting with help of technology and the Emory University, very long as our contact, and Emory University as the some lot of program to Tibetan scholars, some discussions, very good. So then, as you mentioned, I'm one of the professor of Emory University. So now, the recent years, more and more people really paying more attention about our inner peace, mental peace. Previously, there is not much sort of talking, you see, about importance of mental peace. Now, obviously, today, world, in spite many material development and technology, but a lot of problem. These very much related with mental peace. So now, time come, we should pay more attention how to develop peace of mind. Then every human action become peaceful. So now today world, there are a lot of problem. Essentially our own creation. It is very clear. Then the entire human being, you see, do not want this kind of problem. So generally, you see, people only pray to God. Those theistic believer pray to God. And non-theistic religion, including Buddhism and Sangha, they also, you see, pray to Buddha like that. So now, we have to think more. Ultimately, all these human-created problem is a human mind become more agitative mind, and also the fear and actually anger. So now the time come, we should look more deeper way. The sources of this problem, not external thing, but our emotion. So now in that respect, I think Indian tradition, there are a lot of explanation about mind, about emotion. Then, meantime, how to tackle these mental problem. So now, traditionally, people consider these come from religious subject. Now we should think, although these subject mentioned in religious text, but we should consider these are academic subject, not religious subject. So now we should explore a certain sort of explanation about emotion, about mind, the whole system of destructive emotion, how to tackle these, although come from religious text, but we should consider these academic subject without touching religious faith. These we should use as a sort of method or knowledge how to reduce destructive emotion and how to increase constructive emotion. So, like Emory University is paying more attention. It is very good, very good. So, now, Kasuro.
Your Holiness, Your Holiness, it's Sanjay Gupta. It is my great honor to be with you today, and I'm deeply inspired always by your generosity of wisdom and your generosity of spirit. I feel good just getting a chance to see you. The trip that I visited you in Mungad a few years ago was one of the most meaningful trips of my life, and I still have the scarf that you gave me. I wear it when I need a little bit of inspiration. So thank you for that, Your Holiness. It's wonderful to see you. I understand what you're saying about trying to address the agitated mind. I think about that a lot, especially over this past year when we have all over the world been dealing with this pandemic of COVID-19. I think about the frontline workers who risk their lives to take care of other people, and I find it very, very touching. And at the same time, I find people who don't even bother to wear a mask. I believe in the good of people. You've taught me that, and I believe that we are interdependent. But as much as we want to look inward, right now we have to be dependent on each other. We have to count on each other. So how can we appeal to this perspective and encourage this sort of behavior in people all over the world?
Kasa.
Starting the name Gengi, Kajiki, and Karema, but
What?
Nianganzo Samachila Chicken, but he saved Shus, Niankashi, that in J. Nangmin Chistin, about that Chicken in Namdi, because of Tawadi, me goes here, Tashito Kandisi,
Kasa.
Tapshito,
Kare.
me to the land of Chitria, Tapshito Kandisi.
Now these days, some, what's say, Kasa, illness. Kasa
The
mean?
pandemic,
Ka.
the COVID,
Oh, COVID.
no, COVID.
Oh. So this is something very unfortunate. Now, number of people, you see, die due to this illness, and particularly in America and India also, and Europe and China. So these are very serious sort of matter. Nowadays, I don't know. I think those experts, including scientists, now they already sort of working. So they know much better. I'm just Buddhist, we can say, I think Buddhist meditationer and a Buddhist psychologist. You see, when we facing this problem, too much anxiety, too much fear, that actually creates the sources of this problem. They're much less also fear, anxiety. Then I think that kind of mental attitude is, I feel, some help. Because you see, these, you see, inner strength, actually, how to say, some kind of defense line. Too much anxiety, fear, and creates possibility, you see, to get easily, you see, this illness. So I feel the most important is inner peace. These days, I'm telling, you see, Kasa.
Physical hygiene.
Ka.
Physical hygiene.
Physical Kasa.
Hygiene.
Oh, physical hygiene, is quite so highly developed. Now we need the hygiene of emotion. Right? So here we should pay more attention. And then the physical level, although you see very, complicated, but hygiene of emotion is more complicated, I feel. So now I think one example, one of my friend, Tibetan monk, since 59, he remained in prison next 18 years. So he told me during those 18 years in Chinese prison, so he faced some danger or some problem. I thought maybe danger on his life. I asked, what kind of danger? His answer is danger to forget compassion towards Chinese. And so therefore, he considered losing compassion is real danger. So result, his mind very peaceful. So during those periods, you see, a lot of sort of suffering and threat, more fear, more selfish attitude, then more problem. So more compassionate attitude is a peaceful mind. So that's one of my friend's own sort of experience. He told me like that. So therefore, the ultimate source of mental peace or hygiene of emotion is warm-heartedness. Now here, warm-heartedness, the many religious texts mention these things. However, some scientists say basic human nature, since we are a social animal, so from birth, we very much sort of received a lot of sort of affection from other, particularly at the beginning, mother. So since we are a social animal, individuals' life very much depend on rest of communities. So therefore, the sense of compassion is from biologically, from childhood there. Now problem, young children, you see, they appreciate a smile. They don't care what nationality, what color, the family background, rich or poor. So long play together, children, very equal. Once we join our school, then we emphasize secondary level of differences, different religion, different country, some countries, different color, and we too much sort of emphasis on secondary level of differences. That creates suspicion, fear, too much jealousy. These things happen. So now, in education, we should pay more attention the oneness of human being. All 7 billion human beings are human brothers, sisters. We have to live together. So then, also the feeling of sort of suspicion, fear, distrust, or anger, these automatically reduce. So now education, you see, should pay more attention about oneness of 7 billion human beings. And then we have to live. Now today, economically, the global economy, no national boundary. And environment issue, also you see, no national boundary. So we have sufficient reasons to explain we need concept of oneness of 7 billion human beings, and we have to live side by side happily. Okay, this is my view.
Thank you, Your Holiness. As oneness of humanity, we are actually living on one planet. And I want to thank you for your new book, Our Only Home, A Climate Appeal to the World.
No.
Yes, your message is powerful, that Mother Earth is teaching us a lesson in universal responsibility. It has never been more clear that our health as human beings is inextricably linked to the health of our planet, our only home. In your book, you clearly demonstrate that today's environmental crisis is the crisis of our inner world. In order to prevent the worst, you say we need a new enlightenment, a second one, more profound, an enlightening of the enlightenment. And in order to achieve this, our thinking has to combine religion and philosophy, nature and reason, freedom and responsibility. My question to you, Your Holiness, would you please share with us your vision for the eco-spirituality you mention in your book, and also the importance of education of heart in healing our planet and humanity?
그래서
근데 지차들이 나를 소마시 가서 코유나 그런서 생 냠도 지시 가서래 다 보자래다 신윤기 돌다 지 신윤기 돈이 아니라 미 가서래 코유
whether you call spirituality or not, actually our sort of mind should be realistic, and in order to develop realistic sort of, the vision, we should think entire world. Just think your own community, your own family, then you see your mind very sort of narrow. In order to develop realistic sort of thinking, the holistic sort of look whole world, one entity, whole and humanity, are sort of our group. So our mind must open, not thinking your own sort of area, thinking whole world. So then, as I mentioned earlier, the one factor, the sense of oneness and taking care each other, look whole world, just one human planet. So that I feel very useful, and through education. Based on also the scientific sort of research, scientific finding, like that. So that's my view.
Your Holiness, thank you for that. And I want to just take a moment and also thank Melani and Rob Walton. This is a fantastic event. I thank you so much for helping put this together, and President Fenves as well. What a thrill! 3 Emory colleagues getting together like this. I never dreamed I'd be doing something like this. So thank you, Your Holiness. When I was with you in South India, you said something very interesting to me. You said that whenever you smile, you should smile genuinely. That a warm smile is one of the most important ways to develop friendship and trust. And I've really remembered that, and I think about it quite a bit, just in terms of how I interact with people, I make sure that I'm presenting a genuine image of myself. It's tough nowadays because we are all wearing masks when we are out in public, and we can't even touch each other. You know, we have to keep some distance away from each other now. So I wonder how you think we can continue to express this genuine warmth in the middle of this pandemic.
I think too much suspicion and something like protect yourself and some kind of defense sort of attitude, and then you sort of say distance from other. Then these, I think, mentally very harmful. We should consider all human beings, our brothers or sisters, not only we human beings, but even animals. If you sort of also open, we call every sentient being. One exception, mosquito. Otherwise, you see, all birds, animals is a part of our, something like our community. So there is no basis fear. Open towards everyone and look whole world as a one body. That really brings inner strength. And with that, much less fear, much less sort of suspicion, like that. So we all, I think Indian tradition, ahimsa, non-violence, and karuna, compassion. You see, no discrimination with people, everyone, and including animals. You don't harm them. So all consider part of our sort of the our life. So that kind of sort of also the mental thinking, very useful, very useful. According to my own little sort of experience, when I visit a different place, you see, with sort of sense of oneness, everywhere I feel same. So one's own sort of attitude is the key factor. Even animal, you show them closeness feeling. Even these birds also, you see. Once I visited Vienna, Switzerland, one, also the garden. You see, people give sort of some food, these animals, birds. So they happily, you see, come and pick up some seed. So if you show them kindness or open, they automatically used to come. If you feel something, also they fear and prefer distance, then actually you become isolated. So like that, actually our mental level open, a more compassionate attitude towards any sentient being is very helpful, very useful. So I think, as I mentioned earlier, even Dalai Lama always used to look like that, I think I will find less friend. I always smile. So everywhere I go, you see many many people show friendly attitude. So these days I'm telling, and through my own practice, the effective, realistic, selfish, you should pay more attention about others' well-being. That's the best way, the realistic, effective, selfish thing, selfish way. Think yourself. Then is actually absolutely harmful to self-interest. More altruistic mind is the best way to get your own sort of physical health, mental health, and in the society also you will be happy like that. So whether believer or non-believer, believe religion or not, is warm-heartedness is the key factor. And therefore, all major world traditions carry one message, that is love, loving kindness. All religions carry that message. Even you see those religious traditions believe Creator, then you see that also is very, very powerful. We all created by one God, God as our Father. So we all are children of one Father. The Father, compassionate Father. So we should consider brothers, sisters from one Father. And that Father is full compassion. So we are children of that kind of Father. We should be more compassionate children. And then from non-theistic religion, such as Buddhism and Jainism, we consider, you see, a life after life. So not only this life, but beginningless life. So best way to get happy life, compassionate life is the best way. Okay.
Your Holiness, as we continue our conversation about compassion for people and planet, I would like to explore your book further, your new book, Our Only Home. I was moved by your urgent call for a revolution of compassion to protect our planet. You say that simply meditating and praying is not enough. You state how young people need to be rebels, demanding climate protection to save their future and for environmental education to be a priority. Your Holiness, you have pointed out how humans are the only species with the power to destroy our Earth, and also the only species that have the ability to protect it. In doing so, you have suggested 10 commandments for the climate, such as moving to zero emissions, reforestation, and greening our deserts. My question to you, Your Holiness, since nature does not need humans, but we humans need nature, what are the most urgent measures our younger generations must take now to ensure their survival? And how can a fierce commitment and even a confrontational approach to protecting the planet actually be an expression of compassion and loving kindness?
I think existing education, you see, we too much emphasis on secondary level of differences, not much emphasis oneness of 7 billion human beings. As I mentioned earlier, young children, in their mind, by nature, oneness there. In education, now make also the differences, nationality, even if it's the same community. Now, the economy considers something important, so gap rich and poor. So in education field, we should, I think it is much better to emphasize oneness of all 7 billion human beings. And if possible, other animals also. Then, you see, naturally, the individual find more sort of also the inner peace. Too much emphasis, differences, then fear or distrust or anxiety, these things happen. So emphasis, oneness, and then these much reduce, like that. Okay.
Your Holiness, thank you very much. I want to build on a little bit on what Ms. Walton was asking about. You know, when we spent time together in South India, I was very fortunate one morning to be present during your personal morning meditation. And it was a very incredibly moving experience for me. And at the end, you explained to me that this was a type of analytical meditation and that it can help cultivate compassion in the brain. We understand the importance of compassion, but the idea that it can be cultivated by one's own practices, I think, was very interesting to me. We think about building muscles, it takes time to build a muscle, but the brain can change very, very quickly in response to meditation. So how does that happen? How is compassion cultivated through meditation?
Now meditation, actually my also the daily sort of practice or meditation, 2 things. One, selfish, self-centered attitudes consider the source of problem. So meditation to reduce self-centered attitude. So the opposite of self-centered attitudes is altruism. Think other. Then self-centered attitudes reduce. So this is one of my main practice. As soon as I wake up morning, I always recite one shloka, so long space remain, so long sentient being remain, I will remain in order to serve them. Very powerful. This one practice. Another practice is, when you get up, I, then investigate, where is I? So this is my body. With that, my brain and my mind. Where is I? Even Buddha's body, not Buddha. Buddha's speech, not Buddha. Buddha's energy, not Buddha. Now where is Buddha? So similarly, now here, the feeling of I, something solid. Now that actually no base. So all mere designated. So that, you see, helping to reduce the strong self here. Now here, quantum physics also now say, things does not exist as it appears. The appearance, things objectively exist. But if you investigate nothing, and the deeper reality, all mental creation, quantum physics now say that. So quite similar. That's, you see, the Buddhist philosophy. You see, if you investigate I, Nothing. So, two practice. Altruism reduce self-centered attitude. Then another, like quantum physics, you see, nothing independently exists as appears. So because you see things appears objectively, independently, then they are sort of grasping different object. So that help to create this is positive, this is negative, this is my friend, this is my enemy, like that. So for that, the similar quantum physics, if you investigate your enemy, investigate the enemy's body, not enemy, enemy's mind, not enemy, then where is the enemy? Where is the being? Nothing. So these, you see, thinking, you see, one, so what's the wisdom side? Wisdom side, investigate, nothing independently exists. Then method side, altruism. These two things, you see, my main sort of daily practice. So now, these also the wisdom side, the Nagarjuna, Indian great master Nagarjuna, and his disciple. I don't think, not direct disciple, but his follower of him, the Chandrakirti, Madhyamika Avatara Nama. Oh, I always read these books. That, you see, Chandrakirti, quite bold. He expressed their like the Kasa, Bosuband, and Dignac, so on, these sort of great master, they too much afraid. Nothing independently exists, just a mere designation. Because also they fear, so they abandon, you see, this theory. When I saw that, and I feel I quite fortunate. I feel these sort of God said theory very fit in my mind. So I'm, I think, quite close disciple of Chandrakirti. So every day, Madhyamika Avatara Nama, the text, and his own sort of commentary. I always keep that book and read. So I'm hoping I'm not included Bosbant or that group like that. So these practice, you see, brings real sort of realistic sort of attitude. Nothing independently exists. All ultimately related with we call ignorance. So two method. One side altruism. One side nothing independently exists as appears. These two practice combine, very powerful. The result, you see, you feel always, you see, these negative emotions related with these two things. Since these two things are reduced, so negative emotion much reduced. Okay.
Your Holiness, toward the end of your new book, you actually mention altruism and economy. You share new ways of directing us toward a new humane economy based on the 6 virtues that are the basis of ethics of compassion, which are mindfulness, empathy, nonviolence, truthfulness, transparency, and responsibility. You are often quoted as saying, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. My question, Your Holiness, would you please share with us your wisdom about how supporting the well-being of all creatures naturally includes taking care of your own personal well-being as well, and this will contribute to the survival of humanity?
지저 가사.
가서 시행을 재화치에다 시행을 야고치에다 냠도 수수연 수이 가서를 야고친다고
수수가래.
수수연 다고 제셔로
어르바.
수수를 재고치에다 디게 첨부시내니 저기 고유나 도미를 펜도시나도.
That's logically. You see, we are part of 7 billion human beings. In order to serve them, you should be example of their sort of also the kasota, their life. So, when you practice these things, and meantime, tell that other people have more convinced since this is their person, practice these things. So, telling us, so believe. While I'm sort of telling compassion, whenever some small things happen, show anger, then hypocrisy, by teaching, become hypocrisy. So like that. So you should practice, firstly, oneself you should practice, then share with other people. 어디 가래? 좋은 가래.
인조도 저와 생전 시행을 즉 재화치에다 디데 냠도 수수디나 수되듯이.
So when we are part of the human being, since we are part of the human being, oneself should be good example to other. So therefore, you see, that's the way, or say the proper way to serve. If you also practice and saying something different, then how to bring trust? 아주 가서다 이지가 가서래 된죄고 된투뭐.
So when you preach others to do good, to be compassionate and so forth, you should be an example to them through your own practice.
So now about 87-year-old, according to my own experience, these as soon as wake up and thinking 2 things, Ubaya side, Pranja side, or wisdom side, and method side. See that, or see shaping my mind. Then whole day, you see these, or see practice, or see influence of these practice whole day. Remain that. And then, for me, the sleep very important. So, when you get sleep, your mind very peaceful. Then sleep also very peaceful. Too much anxiety, too much anger. Firstly, that disturb your sleep. All right. Thank you. Next now.
Your Holiness, Can you hear me, Your Holiness? Can you hear me? Sorry.
Dr. Gupta,
Yeah.
it looks like we have time just for 2 questions, one from each of you, and then Ms. Walton will conclude with the brief concluding remarks.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
Very good. Your Holiness, thank you. I was reflecting on a conversation we had a few years ago when I attended one of your lectures. And you made the point, as you are saying now, that we are born with compassion, which made a lot of sense. As human beings, in order to survive and thrive, we needed to take care of each other. But I wonder, do you ever think why that compassion starts to fade as we get older? I was also reading a recent report from a neuroscientist at the University of British Columbia who describes this idea that compassion does fade even as you're exposed to more and more tragedy. Instead of the compassion increasing in response to that tragedy, your overall compassion actually goes down. That didn't make sense to me. Why would that happen? And I just wonder if you ever thought about that. You talk about how to build compassion, but do you ever wonder why it starts to fade in the first place?
Kasa.
그런 이제 British Columbia, Canada University neuroscientist 좀 지통선서. 디나는 알아서 다시 간에 막고 통되네. 다도 지 당황 인지 삼바 요나야. 디 인지디 이런 것이 친구들 그 냠줘야 총총총줘야 시키지 셰셰 디크란 이지 게임인도스. 어쨌든 미 총중감에 지금 상부치야 되대 요에는 연도도 한지 라도네 답시도 디나면은 간데지.
That's, I think, just see they remain or relying on just our instant, because the instant sort of feeling, and not thinking or reasoning. Now, I think one unique thing about the Nalanda tradition, in order to practice these things, we extensively use logical approach. So always reasoning. Even you feel some sort of discourage, and then further investigate what value discourage. So the analytical meditation just was the single-pointed meditation, and not much effective. Recently, I was, some time back, I was in Japan. My one talk in one temple, and I told them the single-pointed meditation, good, but better analytical meditation and discuss. And I sort of suggested this very sort of hall should use not only just single-pointed meditation, but debate, more discussion. I express. So, debate and further investigation. Then, through sort of thorough debate and analytical meditation, then ultimately your self-centered emotion, then finally say, oh, I'm wrong. No proper reason. Anger or fear, selfish, all these emotion which bring problem, investigate, no basis. Then altruism and everything does not exist independently. Things are interdependent. Now these are about Pratitya Samupand and Shunyata. So these sort of practice, you see, actually destroy the very basis of selfish is ignorance. So the one unique thing about the Nalanda tradition is not just a single-pointed faith. No, investigate. So I'm the one student of Nalanda tradition. Since 8th century, the Nalanda master invited to Tibet. His name Shantarakshita, great logician, great philosopher. So since he introduced the Nalanda tradition, then we Tibetan Buddhists follow that way. So we consider the logical approach is very, very important. Even one's own teacher say something, we have to investigate. Buddha himself, you see, mentioned, oh, my follower should not follow my teaching out of faith, but rather thorough investigation. Buddha himself, you see, told. So many Nalanda masters, they investigate Buddha's own word, then they find some Buddha's word, they find contradiction, so they reject. So that's Nalanda tradition. Me also, I'm tiny follower of Nalanda tradition. So even some Tibetan lamas, sort of some teaching, when I read that part, then I feel, oh, with salutation, I can't accept your view, like that. So that's very good, very good. Whole teaching based on reasoning. So we can go with scientists. If faith, then we cannot go together with modern science. So now, I think now a few decades, I have sort of very often, you see, discussion with scientists. So eventually, at the beginning, some my friend, oh, don't, because of the close too much with science, your faith may may disturb. Then I have this conviction, things, investigation, logical approach. So therefore, say I carry continuously. Then now after few decades, I myself half Buddhist monk, half scientist. Then number of scientists now really showing interest about this complicated philosophy, like that. So therefore, logical approach is very essential. It is wrong to say, oh, my Lama said that. No, investigate. Yes, next.
Thank you, Your Holiness. This next question will conclude our conversation this evening about consciousness, about COVID, about climate change, and about our connection with others and connection with people. The natural world can often seem distant and far removed from our daily lives and experiences. And we have seen during this pandemic that people are yearning for that connection, and more people are finding respite and strength in nature and with others, even if it is just from a digital connection. In your book, you observe that Buddha would be green. You describe how Buddha was born and his mother leaned against a tree for support, and he attained enlightenment sitting under the shade of a tree. These are powerful examples of our connection to and dependence on nature ourselves, and each other. What can we do better to appreciate how a healthy planet sustains and restores our body, mind, and spirit? Please tell us how your connection to one another and to oneself through meditation and daily practice can make us into the oneness of humanity that you tell us.
가사리.
다 지지라 지den기 남샤샤로 디 곰다 되게 토네 지금 저 컨디션이 고쳐버리시 지워야나서.
Now here, if we go deeper level, then two truth. One truth on the basis of appearance. One truth, ultimate reality. So the Nagarjuna says, Buddha taught according to truth. So the ultimate truth, the understanding about ultimate truth is as a direct opposite, opposing the ignorance. Then, conventional truth or altruism, all these things happen. So now this is more, deeper level. Firstly, altruism reduce self-centered attitude. Then deeper level, then understanding about shunyata. So these practice, what we call Ubaya site, Tavshirva, Ubaya site, and Pranaya site. So, by daily sort of practice, as soon as I wake up, thinking these lines, very helpful, very helpful. And then hold my meditation based on these two truths. Okay, like that.
Thank you, Your Holiness. It has been a joy and an honor for Dr. Gupta and me to have this conversation with you. I would like to welcome Dr. Gupta to have any closing remarks with His Holiness. Thank you.
Your Holiness, thank you very much. We are very honored to be in your presence today. And somehow I always feel better whenever I get to spend some time with you. Maybe that's what you're teaching us all tonight, this morning, wherever you are in the world. But for me personally, it is hard to put in some sort of academic terms or to describe as a neuroscientist, but I just feel somehow more enlightened, more at peace, less agitated, and very thankful. And so what an honor. Melanie, thank you very much for allowing me to be here tonight. What a pleasure. And I wish all of you, I can see many of your faces on the screen, I wish all of you good spirit and good health as we get through these next several months.
Thank you. Now basically, both Buddhist student of Nalanda tradition who study logical approach, and then modern scientists, we both seeker of truth, not just faith. So naturally, in a certain field, we can learn from scientists. Number point, the scientists begin to learn like that. So,
True.
I think the human brain, the source of ability to analyze or investigate, that is very, very precious. Very precious. So all problem can solve with this deeper understanding about the reality. Very helpful. Just a desire, wish, not answer. Analyze. Like that. Okay.
Your Holiness. Your Holiness, before we conclude, Miss Walton has a brief closing remarks, please.
가져버려. 가. 가르쳐줘요.
Thank you, Your Holiness, for this time this evening. I speak now for everyone who has joined us today. We are all moved by your wisdom and grateful for the opportunity to hear directly from you on how to improve the health and well-being of people and our planet. We agree with you that the world must foster, practice, and value compassion if we hope to find solutions to the many challenges facing humanity. As Your Holiness has said, compassion is a necessity, not a luxury, and we are here to share in your deep commitment to making our world a more peaceful and sustainable home for all 7.5 billion of its residents. Your Holiness, Rob and I are honored to share with you how your vision for a global culture of compassion is transpiring at Emory University. It has been our delight to work closely with Geshe Lobsang and his colleagues at Emory to realize this important vision. As we seek to promote compassion in all sectors of society, we are happy to share that Emory is undertaking a number of steps to help people understand its value, to train and support the practice of compassion, and to research its benefits. Starting tomorrow, Emory will be hosting live, online daily compassion meditations that anyone in the world can join. I'd like to invite our audience to visit compassionshift.emory.edu to participate. In February, Emory will offer a 21-day challenge with video instruction, recorded meditations, and daily activities designed to cultivate a more inclusive, sustainable, and compassionate world. Please join us at compassionshift.emory.edu. And finally, we are looking forward to the formal international launch of Emory's Global Culture of Compassion initiative in the spring of 2022 with Your Holiness. This initiative will provide new training materials and online support in multiple languages tailored to organizational leadership, as well as unique needs of those working in healthcare, education, business, human services, and other fields. Your Holiness, Rob and I cannot express how much we look forward to being with you in person at that time. Let us close by offering our many prayers and best wishes for your continued good health, your long life, and the realization of your aspirations for compassion in the world. Thank you for guiding humanity at this time. We are so grateful. Namaste.
That's
Now
all.
Geshe Lobsang.
Paula, the other way. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Thank you, Your Holiness, Ms. Walton and Dr. Gupta, for this rich and inspiring conversation. The insight that Your Holiness has offered will guide us and sustain us as we embark on the next important phase of our work towards advancing a global culture of compassion. Your Holiness's vision for compassion and ethical world for all is an inspiration for us all, and we pray for your long and healthy life and for your continued guidance on this journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, all religion, you see, carry one message of loving kindness. That, including animals, need loving kindness. Now we, human beings, and particularly the people who showing the sort of Nalanda tradition, then we extensively use our intelligence in order to promotion of warm-heartedness, loving kindness. So, once more, I want to thank my friend, not only just a friend, the spiritual brothers, sisters. I really appreciate. Thank you very much. And until my death, I determined to make some contribution for a better world, peaceful world. So similarly, my friend, you also, you see, should think how to build happy humanity, happy world. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.